going to talk about?
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm joined by Harrison and Sam. This is the Phoenix Rain Podcast, episode 3. We're talking
nice
about...
to meet you guys, sorry.
this is Sam Tucker and Harrison, I don't know your last name. Whiffen, that's right.
Me.
And Tammy's here as well. You probably couldn't hear that. All right. Harrison, you studied paramedics. Whereabouts?
I went to uni in Sydney, but actually they got a University of Tasmania, have a campus in Sydney. That's the fast track. Yeah, UTAS.
Same course, same unit coordinators. Fuck yeah.
It was a shambles of a degree. Don't tell them I said that.
Really?
Yeah, it's a bit of a fucking mess, wasn't it? It was like jumping all over the place. It didn't really build from the ground up. You did a bit of this and a bit of that, and then you're like, oh, and they throw you in the deep end. You know.
I think the thing that we got frustrated with in Sydney is at times we were like, oh, everyone's in everyone's in Hobart or wherever, and we're like, fucking just. We're trying to get stuff done. We're trying to get more resources, and they're always like, oh, well, we don't have that. And then we were meant to go and deliver babies in hospitals, and stuff, and then we got that cancelled, and then the guys in Tassie still had, they were still doing it, and we were like, fuck, so we felt a bit ripped off.
Crazy.
Yeah, fuck. Yeah, it's grim.
I just know, you had a bit of a hard time.
Yeah, it's fucking hard, man. Studying for that shit is hard.
It is, man. Yeah.
It's so much memory and writing notes and I know repetition, just going over and over the stuff.
For sure. So, what was that, Tammy?
Police are here because of their whipping.
What? Seriously?
No, I'm just kidding.
I hope not.
I'm going to enter more people into the cast.
Oh, good.
Yeah, but no, I agree. It was tough, and the fast track thing.
Fuck, man.
That was hard because
Jesus.
How long is that course supposed to take?
So it's a normal 3-year bachelor's degree.
3 years course, and fast track. How?
Just over 2, 2 years and a couple of months. Yeah.
Right.
Oh.
And for you, did you complete that? Or
I did, yeah.
Right.
It was it just became a real battle, when when it was January or December, and you're midway through writing a 3,000-word essay.
Yeah, it's fun.
And your mates are at festivals.
Yeah.
And they've gone away, and you're like, oh, I can't.
Yeah, you got the fucking curtains drawn on a hot summer's day in your underpants with sweat on the fucking seat, typing away these fucking case studies.
Exactly.
I can only imagine.
Well, everyone else is out there absolutely really enjoying
really
themselves.
horrific.
Yeah, exactly.
For sure.
It's fucking grim.
So, have you saved someone's life, Harrison?
Yeah, I guess I have. Yeah.
Yeah. Can you describe one particular occasion where you felt proud of yourself?
Yeah. I mean, this is a weird thing for me because I don't particularly. I feel really awkward when I speak about this.
No, there's no awkwardness here. We're all about pride and self-accomplishment
it's just
here.
It's just a real
I'm sad.
Phoenix.
Yeah, mate. Good to see ya. It's just a real cultural thing. I think within the
I'm sad.
yeah,
I'm sad. Classic sad.
Hello, I'm Phoenix. Nice to meet you. Apologies to the podcast listeners. We just had a couple friends coming in. People we know already. The humour comes from us introducing ourselves again. Alright, Harrison was telling us about the time he saved someone's life. He's a true Australian hero. Go ahead. Go ahead, Harrison.
So what I was saying is, it's a real awkward thing. You sort of within the job, the culture is it's an awkward thing to talk about. You don't want to oh, how good am I, sort of thing. So that's the explanation for why I find it a bit weird. But yeah, I mean, one of the best occasions was I was actually working in New Zealand and went to this guy's house and he had a cardiac arrest, so his heart had stopped, so nearly full resuscitation, the CPR, the tube down the throat, all that sort of thing.
We use CPR? What were you
you cycle through all the different,
so you were doing everything?
Yeah, you do a bit of everything. I mean,
right.
Predominantly we don't do a lot of CPR now because the firefighters respond to cardiac arrest as well, so they do the CPR for us.
Interesting.
So it allows us to do things like, put tubes down people's windpipes and stuff, and give drugs that we need to give, and try and figure out what's caused the cardiac arrest and that sort of thing. So we attend this guy, and we managed to get his heart started again, his pulse back, and after giving it a few shocks, with a defibrillator. And
you've defibrillated somebody. Their heart is in fibrillation, and you've literally defibrillated someone until they have come back to life.
On a few occasions,
you could actually say you have brought someone back from the dead.
I guess so. Yeah.
That's kind of crazy.
Yeah,
it's kind of crazy to think about. That's what it is.
Yeah,
That's
it is
truly what it is.
It is, yeah. That's it. And so, this guy, we take him off to hospital because we got a pulse back, so we transport him to the hospital, and he ends up living. He had a big clot in one of his coronary arteries, one of the arteries that feeds blood to his heart.
Right.
Had a big blockage in it. So they take him up to what they call the cath lab. Where
is that where they like insert something and then it like blows up?
Yeah. They insert a stent. So you might have heard of a stent before, like an interventional cardiologist. They're super smart people.
Right.
They put a basically a long wire basically up through either your artery in your groin or through an artery in your wrist.
You mean they create an entrance within like the groin?
Yeah, into an artery.
Or do they like literally go out through your fucking dick?
No.
All right,
so it's through your femoral arteries.
Through the femoral.
Yeah, femoral artery.
That's like around right up in the thigh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they go through there or through your radial artery in your wrist.
Yep.
And then they unblock that.
He's right here. We're just doing another podcast, man.
Yeah.
Hold up.
Is this
Hold
episode
that thought.
3?
That's right.
This is episode 3. I thought you'd left already.
Yeah, dude, surely come stay and
What are you
chill.
fucking doing?
I need to pee out for my credit card. Not credit, debit.
Where'd you leave it, dude?
Just right here. No, I got it now. Tammy got it for me. Alright, I'll see you guys.
Oh man, you're not gonna come.
When's your
Feel free to join in on episode 3.
When's your party?
22nd, isn't it?
19th,
Oh, yeah.
I think. Something like that. Check Facebook.
This is all just going to be the back of the podcast, just this chat, this general social chat.
How long have you been a paramedic?
3 years.
How long did it take for you to do your internship?
I did. Well, it's a bit complicated, so I'll explain that afterwards. But I'll finish by saying.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, sorry for that break there. I will explain to my guests. I'm obviously going to edit that part out.
Yeah.
I don't edit this show at all. That's the joke. Harrison, you were saying.
Yeah,
Go ahead,
so they put this balloon basically up through your femoral artery or your radial artery in your wrist, and they unblock the blockage in your coronary artery.
Kind of incredible.
Yeah. And then so they did that for this guy, and then he had another cardiac arrest after they unblocked it, which is pretty common. And then they got him back again, and he went up to one of the wards, and he stayed in the ward for a few weeks. And it was about a week and a half later. I went up there with one of my colleagues who went to the cardiac arrest as well, and we met this guy and we met his wife, and all that sort of stuff, which was amazing. He obviously didn't remember us, but he was super thankful, and
That's really incredible, man.
Yeah.
Can you talk about some of the Sam? I know you've had some pretty kind of grim experiences as a paramedic, as studying paramedics. Would you be able to go into a little bit of detail about some of the?
Well, I don't reckon I'll be able to go into as much detail as this.
I know, obviously, there's sort of like doctor-patient confidentiality kind of things of that, but like obviously, I'm sure you can go into some. Like you can tell us about some of the different.
We had one cardiac arrest, but unfortunately, we didn't bring him back.
But that's what people need to understand. Like if you're listening to this, that is way more common for people to die than it is for people to live.
Sure. Yeah,
so
for sure.
my story about this guy who survives isn't common.
Epic.
You know.
Yeah. That's so true. Yeah, but it's like an interesting job, man. You know, you really you see kind of that other side of humanity, I guess. You know.
I think the thing is like we see, people always go, oh, you must see some real terrible things and all that sort of stuff. But for the most part, we see, we meet some really amazing people, and you meet any healthcare professional, the majority of my job is dealing with elderly people with multiple different illnesses and that sort of stuff. And these elderly people have always got just amazing things to tell you. You meet people and they're like, oh, I was in World War II, and I was a prisoner of war.
Or some Olympic cyclist.
Yeah, exactly.
Shit.
Yeah. You meet these old people and they've just got these incredible stories to tell you. Yeah.
I'd love to hear what you've got to talk about, Sam, regarding your experiences while you were studying paramedics.
Oh God! Like in what way?
Well, I know you've told me before about some of the more disturbing experiences you've had. Oh my God!
Oh no!
You must snort it! Fuck yeah! I apologize to the listeners of the podcast. My housemate, somebody spilled something We have a rule in this house. The rule is if you spill it, you must snort it. Now that is not healthy, but we don't care about health. Anyway, back to the podcast. Sam, I was hoping you could tell me a little...
Fuck, I remember we were talking about something, but
we were talking
about
what
the story was, and you're like, no, hold it for the podcast.
So we got to... there was this guy, and you told me about fat guys who can't, like, wash under their fat. So, like they literally start to rot as a living human being, like, that kind of thing.
You know, like obesity, man.
Yeah.
So big. It's like areas that they, like, can't clean.
Yeah.
We had, like, you know, some people fall over, and they can't get up, and you got to go and kind of put those things underneath them and blow it up, and they kind of sit up and do a stare. But that was about it, really. Like, there wasn't too much to it.
I think the thing, like the other thing that you see, is that it gives you real insight into the world, what the world was really like. Like, I mean, I was lucky. I grew up in a family that was, you know, a stable family in a well-to-do area. I went to a private school, and you know, I'm a white dude, you know, and like I've got a lot of easy things in my life.
100%.
And then we go out and we meet these people.
Like,
who,
I'm sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
Straight up, it's like enormously refreshing to hear a white man say like, "I'm a white guy and I have it easy."
Yeah.
Like in Australia, that's fucking crazy to hear someone say that.
I think I'd like, you know, if you went and, you're right, because if you went and spoke to a lot of my friends from school, they would be like, what are you talking about? But like, I think, and even if you spoke to 18-year-old me, I mean, maybe not so, like my parents never sheltered me. So
how old are you?
I'm 24.
24.
Yeah, so my parents never sheltered me, so I always had an understanding about, you know, how lucky I was and stuff. But and my mum in particular really drilled that into me because she worked in community nursing, so she had a similar insight.
Oh, for sure.
And then I saw it for myself. That was the thing. Like, you go out and you go into housing commission flats, and so in one shift, you know, you can go into a housing commission flat, and then later in the afternoon you can go into like some mansion, you know, and like and see the complete opposite ends of society.
That's insane, man.
And you go like, these poor people, like they just, you know, it's tragic, and that's why like you know, people go out there and they like. You know, they talk shit and they're like talking about junkies or whatever it happens to be, like language like that, and the way they disrespect. And it's you know, terrible because in my experience, so many of these people who end up, you know, in these sad situations where they, you know, can barely afford a roof over their own head or they're addicted to drugs, typically have some terrible story about how they've got there.
People always have some kind of like, not necessarily justification. I can't really think of the word, but there's always some sort of reason that someone ends up where they
Everyone
are.
has a story.
I don't think any human being is innately evil.
No. Yeah.
Except for Hitler. But like, I don't know. It's like there's always some kind of reason where someone ends up doing some weird shit that we can't yet understand.
Yeah, I think there's... Yeah, everyone's always... As we've said, everyone's always got a story. So it's like that these poor people that overwhelmingly it's, you know, particularly with the women that we meet, it's sexual abuse and things, and they have these stories, and meanwhile, if you know, well, maybe not a few guys, but some people walk along the street and they see these people and they just judge them. That's their first instinct is, get your life together, get a job, blah blah blah, and you're like, it's not that easy.
Yeah. And that's the thing, man. Like, these people are like stuck in these hell grim housing complexes. And just just literally just getting like raped around like from the guys. You know, like,
and they're surrounded. The problem is they're surrounded. Like they put them in these houses, and all they're surrounded by is other other bad influences.
That's the terrible thing. It's an extremely good point.
There was this like a story of this like old man who was just like this. I didn't go to the like situation, but it's just this old guy that lived in this housing complex. But I think eventually over time, just a lot of like I don't know, I guess just people doing a lot of drugs moved into all the houses around, but then they'd begun like breaking into his house and just stealing a lot of his shit.
Yeah, well,
and he was just stuck there and he couldn't afford to like move.
Exactly. I've been to like, you know, housing commission flats where it's such opposite ends of the spectrum. Like I've been to some housing commission flats where, you know, you walk in and you're like, oh, look at this place. Like it's just an absolute mess, and it's trashed, and it's, you know, terribly sad. And then at the other end, you walk into some of these housing commission flats and there's elderly people living in them who've lived there for 40 years, and they treat their house, like their flat, like it's, you know, their normal, like they treat it so well, it's clean, it's tidy and all that sort of stuff. And then I've had these old people and they don't have, as you said, they can't afford to leave. That's the only choice they've got, and often they like living there because it's their home. But I've had these old people like go, here, can you take these with you, like take these away from me, and they give me their drugs because they're scared about
They
other people.
They actually take that step. They hand you these illicit substances that
Well,
that are illegal. Or?
No. So they're handing me their prescription medications, like
Right.
their endone and that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Because
Codeine,
they're terrified
that kind of
about, because people know that they take these medications, or people have a suspicion that they've probably got arthritis or something like that, some sort of injury, and they need to take, medications like opiates, and they're terrified about having their house broken into and those medications stolen. It's just a terrible. It's really sad. Yeah,
it's fucking grim.
Yeah, but as I said, there's those sad things, but for the most part, we meet some incredible people, and we get to do cool stuff like deliver babies and that sort of stuff.
So have you delivered a baby before?
Yeah, I have. Yeah,
that's incredible.
Yeah.
What is that like?
Just as good as it gets. Like,
Yeah.
That's why you go to work. Like that's literally like stuff like that is why you go to work. You see some sad things and you meet some people in terribly sad situations, and then you do something like that, and you're like, it doesn't get any better.
Can I ask what your opinion is of a system as like in Australia we're very fortunate to have like Medicare and free healthcare to people who are not as well off as a lot of Australians are. In America where everything is pay your way. What's your opinion on the American healthcare system?
Oh, I think it's a joke.
Right.
One of the...
I have to apologise in advance that I'm looking at my phone
you're
right now.
right.
I'm just trying to coordinate things at the same time. But go on, please.
I remember reading some sort of statistic, and I'm usually good at remembering statistics, so I'm annoyed that I've forgotten this. But it was like, it's something like 40% of Americans who have heart attacks end up going bankrupt.
Bankrupt?
Yeah, like selling their house. Having to sell their house, remortgage their house or something like that, all that sort of stuff because they can't afford healthcare. And if you want to, I don't watch these sort of shows a lot, but if you want to watch something that's incredibly emotional, you go and watch, I think it's Jimmy Kimmel. He talks about his son. He had this newborn son who had a congenital heart problem, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
And he goes in and he, has the problem fixed by the surgeons at some LA Children's Hospital or something like that. And, he breaks down into tears on the show.
Yeah.
Because he's talking about how, no family should ever have to choose between their child or their house or putting food on the table.
Jeez,
and that's the reality
that
for
is
people.
so fucking crazy. I can't wrap my head around that. Can you even imagine what that is like? Like, imagine, you're driving your car and then suddenly someone said, hey, would you like to keep your fucking kidney?
Yeah.
Or do you want to just give us your car right now?
Exactly.
That's fucking insane.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's reality for these people who live in that. That blows my mind.
Yeah, and it's like, these people you don't get to choose when you have a heart attack.
No,
And for some people, people talk about living a healthy lifestyle and everything, but at the same time, some people have bad genes.
Exactly.
And sometimes it's just genetics, and you'll just have a heart attack. And you might have been, and this is I've met people like this who are triathletes and things, and they're in their 40s or 50s and they have heart attacks. Why? Because they've got this genetic component, and they didn't do anything right. They didn't eat McDonald's every day for their whole life.
Tragic. Jeez, is that a personal attack? Oh man, it's fucking tragic.
No, it's terrible.
And I don't know. You hear about all this stuff, and I want to talk to you about while I've got you. I want to talk to you about environmental sort of issues as well.
Yeah.
From what I gather, I've known you for about 5 minutes here, but I feel like you seem to be a pretty liberal.
Absolutely.
Not as in the
tell
liberal,
you,
not as in the liberal party.
No.
As in liberal.
Yeah, small L liberal. They say.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Small L liberal.
Yeah.
That's right. You seem to be a left-leaning kind of guy.
Big time. Yeah.
Can I ask you who you voted for?
I didn't vote for the Liberals.
Oh, I'll take that. It's fine. I'm happy with that.
No.
Sure.
I definitely did not vote the Liberals,
Yes.
and I was out with a friend
Yep.
in Richmond when, and we were watching. We'd finished watching the footy, and we were watching the election results come in. And me and him, we're both not Liberal vote. We're definitely left leaning. And I'm not even leaning left. I'm definitely
Super
left.
left.
Definitely
For
left.
sure.
And we're both watching it, and as I think everybody, we were like, what is going on?
That's
like, what is that? I had to go home. I went home. I couldn't stay out anymore. I was like, I got to go home.
Yep.
I was that upset about it. I was really upset about it, mate. Yeah.
I knew some people it's funny. Like I kind of laugh about it as well. I'm a very cynical person, which is not a good thing at all. But I was like, I like reading the results as they like live get updated about who's in the lead and whatever. And then it's like I saw this meme that was like Victorian like green, I don't know, Victorian left-leaning barista gets shocked by election results, and I was like, that's me. Like I'm a barista, and I voted green, and I was like, what the fuck?
Well, it's true, man. We live in our bubbles, don't we?
Absolutely,
for sure.
Yeah.
Like it's insane to think about the fact that like I voted green, and literally everyone I know, well, not literally, but 99% is like an accurate number.
Yeah,
like the people I know voted green.
But
And then I see the result and I'm like actually shocked.
We all live in our bubbles, don't we?
Yeah,
Like,
you have no idea.
hectic.
You have no idea.
Yeah.
I'd love to. This is how little I know about our country. It's like, what's the population of Queensland?
I think it's a bit over 4
million?
Yeah.
It's about 6 million in
Yeah,
Victoria,
we're
right?
I think we're
5 or 6,
five
right?
or 6, something like that. Yeah.
Tasmania is about 500,000.
500. Just
Yeah.
500 people
Yeah.
down there, man.
500. You're talking to two Tasmanians
And
right
Louis,
now.
our good friend Louis.
And Louis, I'll have you know, there are Louis and I and Sam. We make up about.
No, I love Tasmania, man.
Yes. It's just strange to me, like how, because people said that it was Queensland.
Yeah. Well,
People vote. They blame Queensland.
It's Queensland, big time Queensland and WA. You look at the numbers and like you look at the swings in each state. Like I'm big into politics. You look at the swings in each state, and every state swung slightly, or didn't move to Labor, apart from Queensland, apart from WA, which swung quite firmly the other direction. Which I'm fairly sure that's what I read the other day. So I've just realised that this is all being recorded, and now I can feel like an idiot.
Look. Here's the thing. To make you more comfortable with whatever you say on this website, I'll just show you my total views on the last podcast.
Man, 18 million.
Yes.
So
This is episode 3.
well, we're making it.
The very beginning of history. Right
I want to
here.
be back when it's on episode 500. And
Very
we're on
happily
18
have you.
million.
Ladies and gentlemen, let it be stated for the record. Let's look at these sound waves right now. Of episode 500, we will have Harrison Whiffen back on episode 500 with Sam Tooker as well.
Yes.
Fuck yeah! All right.
Sick.
No, but like, if we're talking about that, like, I was devastated, man, and like, I think the thing that pisses me off the most is the control that like News Corp, like Rupert Murdoch and News Corp have
it
over
actually
their election. They talk about Adani, like Adani was the thing that swung
Dude,
the Adani mind.
It's fucking Rupert.
Yeah, the Adani mine was the thing that swung Queensland big time. And you got to, I do have some respect for the concerns of North Queenslanders who don't have jobs at the moment.
Absolutely.
And they're going, well, we get it that the environment's important, but I don't have a job. I can't feed my
Straight
kids.
up, I have immense respect for you. Like in this one moment, I'll happily say I have immense respect for you for saying the fact that you're acknowledging the fact that people need fucking jobs to survive.
Yeah.
And that's the weird thing. Is like I look at someone like what the hell is his name? The Greens guy, Richard Di Natale.
Yeah, Di Natale.
I look at Di Natale. I look at the Greens Party, and I feel like this is like 1,000,000% left.
Yeah.
And it feels weird to be among my friends and say it's a little bit too left for me.
Well, I think...
And I look at like Bernie Sanders and I go, this guy's a little bit too left. And I'm just considering like economic, I don't know, maybe it's because I failed economics in year 11, but I just can't help but think about like literally hundreds of thousands of people need to work or they will not survive.
But have you heard what they took with the Adani thing? Is how they're like, initially it was all like, oh, there's going to be 10,000 jobs, but I don't know, it's something ridiculous, all these new jobs in North Queensland. And then they're basically like, they've pulled up this footage from late last year on Sky News where some minister,
News.
yeah, exactly.
Get me going about
But
Sky
some
News.
Liberal minister who was responsible for this, I don't know what her role was, talks about how there's going to be about 100 ongoing jobs. 100.
100.
And
Wow.
meanwhile,
Yeah.
the environmental damage that's being done to the reef. Like we've got the reef and we've got North Queensland's environment. which will provide jobs for eternity
Yeah.
if we take care of it. Adani won't provide jobs for eternity for two reasons. The coal's going to run out eventually. And also, like, all the big major economies around the world are turning away from coal. Like, China's turned away from coal.
Yeah,
India
for
are
sure.
building one of the largest solar plants in the world.
Who's that?
India.
India.
Yeah. The Americans haven't... I remember read something the other day that's saying they haven't built a new coal-fired power plant under the Trump administration. They're all moving away. So why are we like, oh no, here we're going to open this coal mine so we can make money? We're not going to make it.
The problem is like I've got
no
this
bank would loan Adani the money. That's legit.
Absolutely true. Yeah. I've got this statistic for you, which I like. I shouldn't be spouting this statistic. I talked about it on the last podcast. I'm going to tell you again. Somebody told me, and there's no confirmation on this. I will say right now, but I kind of believe it. But somebody told me that 40% in the 1950s and 60s, 40% of our population were teenagers.
Okay.
So 40%.
Yeah.
And those people are grown up now, and they're running our country.
Yeah, baby.
That's the baby boom.
Yeah.
So 40% of those people are now deciding what happens to our country. And I wonder what the percentage of teenagers of our country is now. It's certainly not 40%. It's probably like 15% or something.
Yeah,
like
wouldn't
that.
have a clue.
So I think in like 30 years, that's our time.
Yeah.
Right? But also, I read a news article that said the human race will go extinct by 2050.
That's the thing that's frustrating is you go, our time's coming, but like, what's the world going to look like?
Yeah, absolutely.
But so no, but that thing of it, like the baby, it's a massive aging population. But they talked about. I remember reading some articles. Maybe you guys read them as well, or saw stuff about this, about how the same-sex marriage plebiscite that occurred, how that encouraged a huge number of young people to sign up to
actually enroll in voting. Yeah,
because there's a lot of people.
Tammy is being so loud. I apologize to the listeners of the podcast. This is not going to be a clear episode 3. I will listen back. I'll try and edit it. But look, who gives a shit? Just listen to this. This is a good conversation. This is good content.
On a side note, do you have a beer, dude?
Listen,
I gotta get another one from the fridge because more beers means more shit.
More beers means more shit.
Have you seen that meme that's like, I won't promise I won't get political. 3 drinks later.
I'm gonna pause this right now. Look, it doesn't really matter where we were up to. We can't really remember it. That's fine. We got more drinks. Tipple is on the way. I'd like to talk to you, Sam, because you went into detail just a little bit when you and I were talking, like, not on the podcast. Can you give me down back there, please?
Oh yeah.
Apologise to the podcast listeners.
Give me up,
ASMR.
Ooh, that's good.
Speaking audio files there. Alright, no. So, Sam, you went into detail just a little bit with me about some of the worst experiences you had as a paramedic.
Oh, I can't remember.
I know that it's a little bit harrowing. That kind of thing.
The studying part or the work?
No, I mean the work, like on being on call in Launceston.
Oh fuck, you mean on night shifts?
Night shifts?
Yeah, how do you find night shifts, man? Like when I was doing them on placement.
Tammy, are you on the podcast?
I am now.
You better come up here.
My name.
You joined the podcast.
I am on the podcast.
It was just placement.
Face the mic when you talk, Sam.
Sorry about that, guys.
So it's just
so it's like on night shifts. It's like you kind of you like have a few jobs, and then it gets to like 11 o'clock. Then you like hit the sack. But then it's kind of like you get these calls, like, I don't know, if you're unlucky, like, you don't get to go to bed. But if you get to go to bed, then you, like, start sleeping for, like, I don't know, windows of, like, 25 minutes.
Yeah.
And you just keep, like, waking up and going back to sleep and waking up. You kind of start feeling, like, nauseous, and then it's, like, all, like, a little blurry.
It's such a weird...
And you're, like, fucking sitting in the back of the truck, and you're like... Yeah. And you're like, fuck, and you go to this patient who's like, oh, I had chest pain, but it's fine now. Sorry, guys.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Me.
Yeah, man. Like, just anxiety, man. Just so much anxiety, and it's like you're fine, but they're just anxious, you know. Like
it's tough, man. Like the thing that I experience is like that interrupted sleep,
brutal, man.
And I describe it. It's like you'll go to bed at work, like you're at work in a bed, and the way they send us our jobs, they dispatch us is we have these portable radios that make this really loud.
Pages,
and a pager, and they make this really loud noise, and so you'll be sleeping and like.
you never get a proper sleep because you're always slightly on edge about like something's coming.
It's like PTSD.
Yeah, but then it's like the only way I can describe it, it's like someone grabs you by your shirt and pulls you out of your sleep. Like you're just lying there, eyes closed, sleeping, feeling alright, and then all of a sudden this radio goes off, and you just get woken up in an instant. You're like, oh shit!
You like thrown out of bed.
And I've done this before where the page or whatever's gone off. I've rolled over, turned it off, made it go quiet, and then rolled over to go back to sleep, and then gone, shit, I can't do that.
Yeah,
I'm like,
absolutely.
I'm
It's somebody's life.
Yeah,
like,
and then other times, like I've woken up and I've been working at an ambulance branch or station that's not familiar to me. Like maybe I'm working overtime shift, I don't usually work there, and I'll wake up and I'll try and get out of bed, say on the left hand side, but there's a wall there. And I fucking start panicking because I'm like, oh, I'm trapped. And then you sort of realise what's happening and you're like, oh, okay, I'll just get out on the other side. But yeah.
Do you ever go like home after a shift and you're just kind of lying in bed and you just kind of like almost get these, fucking flashbacks from World War II of like this pager, man. There's like this unsettling feeling, man. You're like, oh no, I'm fine, just relax.
So I don't know if you guys have watched any of the ambulance shows, but like the Victorian ambulance show that was on recently, I didn't watch it.
Why is that? When I was doing on placement, all of them kept saying like, I can't watch the show.
I don't know.
Like, what is it that why can't you watch it?
I mean,
is it cringy or boring or?
It can be cringy.
And what do you mean by cringy? Like,
well, the producers like put a big time twist on it. They ham everything up. They make it like, oh, this is so dramatic with the music. And I feel sorry for like my friends and family if I'm watching it with them because they'll be like, oh my god, and I'll sit down and go, that's bullshit. I'll go, oh, are you serious? They're not even that sick, and that sort of stuff. But I don't really watch it. But my sister and my mum loved it. So like when I was living at home, because I moved back home for a while and then I moved out again. And I was living back at home and I'd hear my parents watching the show, my sister watching the show, and I'd hear the sound of the radio going off on the show. I'd be sitting in the other room, like, I don't know, if you're watching Netflix, whatever it happens to be, I'd hear it and it would like trigger me. My heart rate would instantly go up. 100%. I'd instantly go, oh shit. And then I go, oh, I'm not at work. What are you doing? Must be the TV.
It's messed up.
Yeah.
It's crazy to think about. So why, may I ask, why study paramedics to begin with?
Well, I mean, like, it honestly started out with, like, I always wanted to do some sort of, medical healthcare type thing.
Did that come from, like, parental
pressure? Not
pressure, but, like, inspiration?
Yeah. Mum's an RN. Mum's a nurse.
Right.
She hasn't worked in hospitals and stuff. She's worked in the community. Yep. She's worked with, like, kids with disabilities and that sort of stuff for most of her career. Done some research as well. And she works in a GP clinic now. But, yeah, it came from that sort of, like, wanting to help people mainly. I always had an interest in doing medicine, like becoming a doctor. But I knew at school, like I chose subjects I enjoyed doing at school rather than subjects that were scaled up. I'm not sure, so I wasn't going to get the 99.95 that you need to get into undergrad med. So yeah,
I've got one question, real quick. We touched on in the last podcast, Dante and I, we looked at ATAR and the bullshit that is.
The stress.
I like my ATAR was 74.5. I don't mind admitting that to people. Most of my friends got like 80, 90. I had a couple friends who got the maximum ATAR. 9.95, which makes you feel kind of like a little bit self-conscious, a little bit stupid when you're their friend. Can I ask what your ATAR was, Harris?
Look, man, I can't remember exactly what it was.
Everybody says they can't remember.
I can't remember exactly. But I think the minimum to get into the course, I did it. I think mine was around the 80 mark. Yeah. So it wasn't like, I'm happy to admit that I did fuck all in. Like I did work hard in year 12. Yes. Ask my parents that, my mum will be like, yes, no, he didn't do any work. So no, but I genuinely, I chose subjects that I enjoyed doing and stuff. And but I think the thing that, like, for any of the year 12s out there listening,
fucking 5 people worldwide listening,
for our millions of listeners. While we're on the ATAR thing, is that you sort of like, I feel like when you're at school, you had it built up to be like the most important thing ever. And and when I didn't get as high as I wanted. I was fucking like, oh shit,
Yeah,
like,
fucking
this
cucked.
feels terrible.
Yes.
And then
Yeah.
I got into this course. I went to uni, loved it, got a job, loved my job,
Fuck yeah.
and now, like as I said, I've always thought about doing medicine, and now I'm like, I don't think I will. I think I'll stay. I think I'll stay in this because we have a great work-life balance. We get to see some amazing things, meet some amazing people, go into people's houses and things like that, which is pretty cool. So I mean, back to why I became. It's basically it was the whole feeling a need to like help people and feeling a need to be really challenged like every day that I go to work. It's such a cliche, but not every day is the same.
It's a cliche because it's true.
Yeah,
really.
but like the cliche about like
fuck.
not every day is the same. Like in terms of work, and some you can be sitting there, it can be real quiet and boring, and nothing's happening. And then all of a sudden, bang! Like it just goes nuts, and there's a big car accident, or there's someone who's been, whatever's happened, just like that.
Does it ever get to you? Do you ever have calls as a paramedic where you call to a situation where it's like some person who's taken something that they don't understand or whatever, some druggo who's in McDonald's parking lot or something who's passed out in the middle of the drive-through? Does that ever demoralize you? To bring you down.
Do you know if it demoralizes me? No, like I always, as I mentioned earlier, like I definitely feel sad for the people who are addicted to whatever it is they're addicted to, because addiction's a genuine mental health condition, and it's terribly sad, and these people need help. I think the thing that demoralizes me is not what's happening to not that person directly, but more the system that doesn't help them effectively. Particularly in the setting of mental health. We see the same patients over and over and over and over and over and over again. And we know some of these people by name, and they know us by name.
Really?
You'll see them in hospitals, and you'll say, "Oh, g'day, whatever," and they'll know you, and you know them. And
that's got to be a little bit emotionally taxing, surely. Like
it can. It's disappointing. That's the thing. Like it's disappointing.
Interesting.
And you just wish that these people could get the help that they need, and I don't think it's an answer of the people, the mental health teams. I don't think the answer is they're not trying or that's what's happening. They're putting in 120% effort all the time. But I just don't think we know how to treat these conditions. Like 50 years ago, we didn't know how to treat, certain medical, like we didn't actually know all that much how to treat stroke, even like 15 years ago. And now we do. We're much better at it.
And some conditions you thought were like mental and physical. Some conditions you thought needed to be treated. When in like actuality, it turns out it's just like, that's just like who a person is. I'm talking about like being gay. People thought that was a mental illness.
Like
it needs to be treated.
They need to be put in a
periods. Like a woman has hysteria.
Exactly.
That kind of thing. Like,
you're right.
That shit needed to be treated back in the day. Which is fucking insane. That medical science changes so much over the course of like a single year. Like a new body part. Did you hear about like the fact that a new body part was discovered like last year, something like that?
I remember reading it. I quick disclaimer from me is I'm always very, very skeptical of medical of everything, but
it should be
of medical research stuff that I read in the
research
that I read in the quote unquote mainstream news, because regularly you read these things. And then you go and read the actual research, and you'll go like they'll say some shit like, "Oh, if you drink a glass of red wine and eat some dark chocolate every day, you'll never get cancer." And then you go and read the research article, and if you've got a brain, you've been taught how to, you've got this brain of science brain as such. You've been taught how to analyze articles. You'll read that article and you'll go, "That's bullshit."
For sure.
That's not what the article is saying, and that's a terrible research article.
You can't trust any mainstream media.
I remember read about that.
The new body part thing, it was about basically in the human eye, there's like the cornea has many, many layers to it, right? Like, I don't know if you guys know about you probably know more than I do about like with the cornea and the human eyeball has like many different little layers of gel to it and everything that create magnification and clarity and whatever. They discovered like, oh look, layer number 32, something like that. it's not a huge discovery. It's
But
like,
it was just
oh wow,
when they had 31 layers before. And
31 layers. Oh look, there's another layer.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Who fucking cares? New body part. That's the BuzzFeed headline. It's like a new body part.
Exactly. Take this quiz to find out which body part you are.
Exactly. All right, Sam.
What's up?
So I know you had some things that led you to not want to continue with paramedic study.
Yeah.
Are you willing to go into that?
Look, let's do it. Let's
get
let's
into
spill
it,
into the goss. Should we?
So you were studying.
Should we skip to the culmination of the degree?
Let's say, yeah. So the story is like you had this test that you needed to do, right? Which is sort of like record a video. You've told me about it already.
Yeah.
Now I think I'm just going to say to everybody in the room, real quick. Sorry, podcast listeners. I think everybody should listen to this story that Sam's about to tell.
Oh no, it's not good, man.
No, for real,
It's not even that good.
It's not really. Look, who cares if it's a good story? It's actually just an important story.
Is it?
About education, which I'm a big, I don't really like our education system.
Ooh,
Sam, tell us about, you had to record a video. Come close to the mic.
it was part of an assignment, right?
Part of an assignment.
So
Go
basically, you had to video record yourself teaching someone
remember
something,
this.
right? Yeah. This is,
I did the exact same assignment.
So I had to do chest auscultation, right? So I had to teach someone how to auscultate a chest.
What is
Oh, that's
what?
basically with a stethoscope. You just listen to their lungs, listen to their breathing.
Alright.
If it's like
Auscultation.
gurgly and shit, you know something's wrong. Anyway, so I had to film this video, but like I was a bit like unprepared. And the following day I had placement, and then straight after placement I had to do. Plus we had exams at that period and a lot of assignments due. So I didn't particularly take much time on this video. Now when I did it, I was just like shirtless. I put all this blue tack on my back to show like parts where you can like listen. And I just did it with my girlfriend. And like I just kind of like looked at the camera and like treated the camera as the people. Anyway, so I submit this piece of shit up on Milo, fucking whatever, it doesn't matter. So I get my feed.
That's what it was called.
Man, it's like the fronter of fucking
Fronter.
absolutely of the university. So I uploaded. Anyway, I get my feedback like a few weeks later, and like I'd flunked it. I'd like passed on one criteria, but on the other two full failed. I was like, oh, like I passed one criteria, that's fine. So I sat back, life's good, rubbing my hands. Then a few weeks later, I get this like email from the head coordinator of like the fucking course. Like she's called Lee Parker.
Lee Parker. I know Lee. I've met Lee a few times.
Yeah, fuck. She's
conferences I've been to.
Yeah, she's interesting, man.
So you guys have met the same coordinator.
Yeah, wow,
Well, interesting.
Yeah.
Well, like, okay, but
I shouldn't have said her name, actually, should I?
Well, I won't, but I'll bleep it out.
In
But
the rare,
I won't. But
rare likelihood that Lee's listening.
Yeah.
We are sorry.
Shout out to Lee.
No.
I just wanted you to know how you affected Sam. It's interesting to think about. No,
It's interesting.
it's fucking interesting to think about.
So
Go
anyway,
ahead.
I get this email, and it's like, Sam, I'm like emailing you because you're supposed to set up an appointment with me regarding this assessment you failed. I'm like, oh,
What?
right, okay, sorry. Well, when are you free? Whatever. We booked up an assessment the next day, and I was like a bit nervous. I was like a bit like, getting a bit hot, a bit fidgety. Like, fuck, nah. Surely it's not bad. Surely it's just like you fucked up. You're gonna be fine. So I rock up into the room. She's like, Sam, why do you think I've called you in here today? I'm like, oh, I guess I just failed an assignment. It's like, yes. And she leaned in, looked at me in the eyes. And I sort of pulled back and went, oh. And it was a bit unprofessional. And she leaned in and she was like, yes. I'm like, oh, it was really bad. And she's like, yes. She was disgusted. She was disgusted by my video. She said she made her uncomfortable. She said the people that watched it, they have to show people, if they're going to fail somebody's piece of work, they have to show a few different people.
Yeah.
She said she watched it. She felt straight up she felt uncomfortable. She thought I was making fun of the assessment, not taking the degree seriously. And I started beginning like, fuck, this is a bit intense. I started getting a bit smiley, fidgety, looking down. She's like, Sam, why aren't you looking at me in the eyes? Like, why are you acting so fidgety and strange? You think this is a joke right now? Like, why are you smiling? I'm like, fuck, man.
Fucking
Like,
intense. It's like
man,
an interrogation.
It was like on the most personal level. I'm like, fuck, Lee, man, this is a full accent. This is a mistake, man. Like, I don't find this funny at all. And she said, I watched you the other day in a practical session, Sam. You seemed so caviar. You seemed like you're treating this as a performance. You're treating like you're trying to impress people and make people laugh. Like you, as a paramedic, have to learn how to talk to people. Because right now you're doing a bad job. You're not looking in people's eyes. Like, I don't believe you're ready to be a paramedic. And I was like, fuck. I'd never been shredded on the most personal level
So intense.
of my life.
Yeah.
So anyway, after that day, I thought about it. I'm like, listen, like, this is the last point I can defer in the course. after that, I think, I don't know.
Yeah, when it gets too late or something.
Yeah, so it was like 50% of the course I'd done. I was like 4 weeks into the fourth semester. So I was like, fuck it. Like, I just deferred.
Yeah.
And then just came to Melbourne to pursue a bit of acting, man.
Yeah, nice one.
Yeah. So that's the story.
I definitely
so
met
Lee Park is
too.
a hard bitch, man. But I don't regret it. It was like hectic.
Yeah. But like, I mean, I suppose that's you're saying you don't regret it. Like that's a bit of an example, like of the old, something happens like that, and like one door closes or whatever, and then you're like, oh fuck it, I'm going to Melbourne and like pursue something different, and now you're like, fucking cool, like sick. But no, I met Lee as well. Like I met her at a conference, and it's the only time I met her because we in Sydney, going to the campus in Sydney, we always just get so pissed off and so frustrated about how like all the unit coordinators were in, or like almost all of them were in Tassie, and we'd be trying to get like stuff done, we'd be trying to get feedback or whatever, and we couldn't. Like it was taking forever to get back to us and things. So that's what we talked about at the start. It was a bit of a shambles, I reckon, the way it was run. The degree. I thought we had some great like lecturers and some great tutors and so on.
I listened to a lot of the online. Because your lectures were so much better. They were amazing. There's this really cool biology guy. I think he's Spanish. I don't know.
There was CL. There was
super funny
the
guy.
Bioscience.
Some European dude.
Okay.
Bioscience.
There was CL, this Asian dude. He was cool. He was awesome.
I think I know the Asian dude as well.
Yeah, CL. He was a great teacher.
Really
amazing dude.
good.
Amazing dude. Yeah.
Hold
Actually,
on.
both the bioscience people was CL, and then there was this woman, Sally, if I remember. I'm pretty sure her name was Sally.
Yeah.
She was amazing.
I think I watched some of her doing like the nervous system.
Yeah.
She was good, man. She just like every single word she said was like.
Yeah.
There was no like it was just bam. It's like it took me hours to like write. I just wrote down exactly what she said. In my notes. Like, it was fucking word for word perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it was it was a bit of a shambles at times, but then so obviously I feel like I've taken over we've taken over the podcast here.
We're not sure where Phoenix Rain is at the moment.
Phoenix.
He might be actually getting.
We've just got a notification on the screen of the computer saying the tipple invoice, so I'm assuming he's gone to pick up the alcohol. It's just arrived at the door.
Well, I guess while we're on the topic of work, so is your work the thing you're most passionate about, or are there any other kind of like?
No, I think so. I think sadly, some people would say it's a bit unfortunate.
No, that's cool, man. Being a paramedic's fucking sick.
No, I what I'm really passionate about work is education. So I on the topic of education, is that I do feel like sometimes we do a bad job of it. I think can be a bit of a culture of like, it's almost like a military style culture with like, oh, you're the new guy. Like we have to like, keep you in line because you're the new guy or whatever it happens to be. And rather than being like real welcoming and like inviting and like, oh yeah, well, we're going to do everything we can to help you. We sort of, like particularly with the graduates who come into the service and with the uni students as well to an extent, there's a little bit of like a distance between the qualified people and the non-qualified.
I remember when I was on placement, man, all of them would stand in a circle chatting, laughing. You're literally just on the outside of the circle.
Trying to
just
pop your head in.
just like standing there so awkwardly. You're just fucking, so out of place sometimes.
Yeah. And like it's, because like at work, we'll have the uni students who come out with us and it frustrates the hell out of me because like colleagues of mine will go, oh, well, all he did was sit on the couch. He didn't study or he didn't do this or didn't do that. And I'll go, well, what sort of example were you setting?
Exactly,
were you
man.
studying?
All of them bitched fucking hard when I was on placement. Like,
exactly.
Man, I couldn't believe how much they bitched. It was like you would go to these patients, and as soon as you're out of earshot, if that, it was a fucking man, just like fucking no, that was sucking. What the hell was with that? Like same with like the old people while they're in the hospital in their bed, they're just bitching about things they can't hear.
There's a bit of like
ruthless.
Yeah, it can be, and I think there's an element of what people call compassion fatigue. So like you go and you go to so many patients and stuff, and you get to a point at times, and I'm lucky to say that I don't think I've really reached this point in my career yet. But it can happen. It's a bit of burnout, really. Is that you sort of get to a point where you're like, man, I'm just sick of like these. Like you can only there's only so much I think you can take on board.
Oh, right.
Excuse me, before you're like, okay, I've had enough. Like and then but that's a good sign that you probably need to have a break. You probably need to take a spell, go and leave, or do whatever, or maybe go and take some time off road, go and work in education or rosters, I don't know, something else that's not on the road, and so you're not, because sometimes you do meet people who like they have that, and then it affects the way they interact with patients.
Yeah, for sure. Some of them are rough. But I also found, do you know people like, because when I was on placements, one, a lot of other people found this, that a lot of like the preceptors, just the people working, just didn't really want to be paramedics anymore. Is there a lot of people like that? Like,
I think there is. I think there's an element of that, like, which is sad.
Like,
I think in any job there's an element of people who don't enjoy what they're doing, and I think the difficult thing about this is that you get trapped a bit because our degree is so specialised. You know, so it's not like a nursing degree, for example, where you can be a nurse in an emergency department, and then you might be like, okay, I've had enough of being an ED nurse. I'm going to go and become a nurse at a GP clinic, or I'm going to go and be a nurse at a school, like a school nurse, or whatever. Like, you sort of don't have that ability, like you know, paramedics don't have that ability like nurses do, which is you know, can be a bit frustrating for people. But I think a thing with that I think we should change in regards to the preceptors and the way that they can be a bit negative.
Shit on your
Oh, thanks, man. Appreciate it. I'm going to finish my Furphy first, but yeah.
Shout out to Furphy.
if you want to sponsor us.
Yes.
But yeah, I think one of the things with the preceptor stuff is that what they do wrong with ambulance services is they don't, like, they just hand you a student. Like, so you're working, you turn up one day and you're like,
that's the thing,
you've got a uni student. Like, some managers will let you know, but a lot of times it's just like, oh, here we go. Whereas what they should do, I think, is ask at the station, like, who wants to work with students? And if you go, yeah, I do, like, then they
it'll
put
be
you with
so
you.
much better. Yeah.
I've got to. So you finished your degree now?
Yeah, I've been
right.
Are you a preceptor?
I'm not a preceptor at the moment, but I'm working towards it because it takes a bit of time to get like So I've worked with a number of uni students, like a lot, but to work with the graduates, you have to put who I work for, you have to be what they call a clinical instructor, and that takes like some time to get there. So I'm working towards that now.
So I've been going for 5 minutes. Have you preceptor? Have you defined what that is?
No. So it's like an educator. So like when the uni students, or like when the new graduate paramedics have just got a job with the service, come out on, and they first start their career, they put them with the clinical instructors or the preceptors. That are, you know, like they're usually people who, they are people who, at least where I work, who've expressed an interest in doing it, who have proven to their manager that they're worthy of being an educator, and they've gone through a bit of a course just within the service to be that. Yeah.
So, Sam obviously told you the story about his bad experience with
who will not be there.
Sorry, who will not be there.
I mean, you've already named this person.
Yes.
So many times.
Doesn't matter. It's more so what that story is really about is just like about the bad sort of experience you have in university.
Yep.
When you're learning something that is kind of like...
Are you passionate about it enough to
when you're
push through it? Yeah.
It's kind of... I think
the sad thing is you shouldn't have to be passionate about it to quote unquote push through it, because like I think educators should foster they should foster that rather than knock it on the head, because I feel like that's what happens. And we actually spoke about very briefly about like this attitude of, you know, the uni students come out and they do their placements, or the graduates come out and they start their jobs. And some people can be very negative towards them rather than being positive, rather than promoting a culture of education.
Here's the thing: negative reinforcement is still reinforcement. You're pushing someone towards. I know I've said that to you before.
If it's done in the right way.
Here's the thing: if you're pushing someone towards something,
if it's done in the right way,
and absolutely,
yeah,
and you're pushing someone towards being a better paramedic,
yeah,
and that's a good thing.
Yeah, absolutely, it is.
But
you shouldn't hold back from telling people, from giving people feedback on things they haven't done well, but you have to do it in a positive manner.
For sure.
And you can't just, for example, you can't just work with somebody and be like, you do this bad, and that's it.
That's the thing, yeah.
You have to be
ruins your confidence.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
You have to be like, hey, Sam, like, I saw you trying to do this, or I saw you, asking these questions, assessing this patient. One of the things that I think you didn't do well was, this certain skill or whatever. Like, let's work on it. And what can I do to help you? Rather than just being like, you didn't do this well. Yeah. And see you later. Like, it's not helpful for anyone.
I always thought, the reason I kept saying that, Sam, is the negative reinforcement is still reinforcement. Rowan said that to me once.
God,
And
tell me the story about that.
There's no story.
I don't think you've actually said that to me before. I'm hell intrigued.
Oh, really?
So what do you mean by negative reinforcement?
Negative reinforcement, telling someone that they're shit to try and make them do a better job.
Well, yeah, that's the
what
thing.
that's what Whiplash, the movie
Yeah.
Whiplash, is negative reinforcement. It's still reinforcement.
I think, yeah, like, it definitely can help. It's, like, brutal, but, like, it can help. Yeah, for sure.
it just doesn't always help.
Yeah,
So
that's the
sometimes
thing.
there's a time and a place. That's it. Sometimes it works. Sometimes it really doesn't work. And the thing about it is you often weed out the people who want... It's like you weed out the people who are meant for this and the people who are not meant for this.
Yeah.
And, like...
Well, I guess the dropout rate for paramedics like fucking pretty high, isn't it? It's
it
like
would be fucking
it's like
high as
40%
hell.
or something.
Because
I don't
it's probably one of the most stressful, taxing jobs a human being can do. And you're doing it, Harrison, and you've stuck with it.
Yeah.
And I know that you've probably, look, I'm going to make some big assumptions. You've probably gained some like life-changing, incredible experiences from it.
Absolutely.
It's probably been like one of the most influential, big, good things for yourself.
Yeah.
I reckon.
Well, we said like when you were away doing the thing, picking up your alcohol.
sorry, sorry, boys.
Picking up the alcohol.
Look, listen, the podcast needs drinks. I'm not going to deny you the supply of alcohols.
No, we what did we speak? I can't remember.
It's all gone.
Didn't we?
What's that?
No, yeah, it was a good combo.
I just literally was about to say something really profound, but I've forgotten what it was. Not really profound.
listen, and that-
Nothing's been profound.
This whole podcast is profound.
It's such a hectic word.
No, like I was saying, like like Sam asked, like, is it your passion? Like, have you got another passion? And I went. Unfortunately, some people may say tragically, it is my passion. But I think that I do have things that I love doing outside of work.
Yeah.
But I really, really enjoy my
Like
job.
what?
I like going surfing. Yeah, so
Surfing.
that's a
Yep.
big thing. Pretty much, that's it.
That's cool. That's
surfing is the main
Sam's
thing. Yeah.
he's done a bit of surfing. as
Yeah,
well.
I'm not a very good surfer.
Neither
but,
am I,
like,
man. Fucking
it doesn't
shit
really
house.
matter. Like I used to work in Torquay and
God,
Geelong and
sick.
stuff, and I worked down there, and I was living in Ocean Grove, and that was as basically as good as it gets. Like I do love living back in Melbourne again, but I will move back down there
I've got a
one day.
not even a story, but just like I'll tell you about the time that I got caught in a rip once. Did I ever tell you about this,
Ooh,
Sam?
danger.
Nah. So like they say, you
Surf
know,
safety, kids.
swim parallel to the
Yeah,
beach.
yeah.
That's what they say. Every kid gets taught that.
Yeah.
I just remember swimming directly for the sand,
Yep.
directly for the beach,
Yep.
for about 15 minutes. I was on the spot,
Yeah.
getting pummeled
Like a
by like
treadmill.
3-meter waves, like a treadmill,
Yeah,
just
dragged out.
powering for the water, sand in my lungs, like swimming for the beach directly for about what felt like my entire life, probably about 10 minutes, probably, honestly. And then I finally like powered my way onto the sand. I collapsed, and I was like, it's like the end of gravity. I'm like, like on the sand, just
Or the end of
collapsed.
Sanctum as well. That's pretty accurate.
Right.
That happened in Inception as well.
In his like the end of a lot of movies.
Leonardo
Thankfully, it
DiCaprio
wasn't-
comes off the Titanic,
I-
washed up on the beach in Inception.
I am Leo DiCaprio.
Yeah.
No, so I collapsed on the sand, and I remember like turning around and finally looking at the water, and it's doing that thing where it like collapses on itself and rolls backwards, and I'm like, oh, that's what that was. And they told me when I was a kid, but I didn't really, I don't know, I didn't
And you've
understand.
never been to the beach again.
Pretty much. I've never been swimming in a surf again, I'll tell you that. Sand inside me. Like, it was not a good experience. Yeah.
Fuck that.
Being caught in the
Sand
rip
everywhere.
it was fucked. It was
Jan
awful.
everywhere, if anyone that watches The Office.
Look, I watched The Office and I still don't know what that is.
Oh, okay. Well, you should watch it again.
Okay.
The American one. That's
I watched both. I watched up to season 6 actually, and then it lost me. First
Yeah,
episode
okay.
of season 7, and I was like, "What is this show?"
What, the American one?
Yeah, yeah.
What happens there? Is that when...
It was just like the
No,
joke.
spoiler alert. Is that when Michael Scott leaves?
He leaves at the end of like what season 6?
I can't remember. Something like that. If that's when he leaves,
I
fair
think
enough.
he
'cause it
leaves at the
turned to-
very end of season 6.
It turned to shit for a while, and it picked back
Yeah.
up in the last like season.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
Or
but the
two.
first episode of that season where he leaves, it's not
Like
funny,
Will
it's
Ferrell
just-
comes into it. And
Really?
like, yeah, Will Ferrell comes in and you're like, who's
Yeah,
this
they
guy?
brought in Ricky Gervais as well.
Yeah, Ricky comes in.
Really?
For, he's
Because Ricky did the original Office UK.
Yeah.
Which is extremely good, by the way.
Yeah, I haven't watched it because like every time I go to watch it,
it's-
I just go, I'm gonna watch the American one again.
Classic.
Yeah. No, the UK Office is like extraordinarily like
I'm
sickeningly
sure
cringy.
I would
It
love
is,
it.
man.
I'm sure
It's
I would.
beyond like the US is like you laugh at it
Sitcom.
and you're like, oh,
Yeah.
that's bad, and you cringe. UK like makes you feel uncomfortable. Like it's
And like
really
the fucking like color grading as well, and it's just
Yeah.
so stale.
Well, that's the
and
point.
slow
That's the whole
Yeah,
point.
exactly.
They want
It's
you to
just
feel
so
like dingy and
brutal.
gross. Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
very
man.
England.
Yeah,
It's very
yeah.
England,
Grey.
Yeah, it's just
Alright.
grey, yeah, for sure.
Well, look, we're out of time. I'd like to thank you for coming on the podcast,
That's right.
Harrison.
Very short notice.
Yeah, like out of nowhere. And it was a pleasure meeting you as well
No
tonight.
worries,
pleasure
man.
meeting you, man.
And Sam as well. Thank you for coming on the podcast. I'd love to sit down with you again and
Yeah,
talk
for
about
sure.
movie making and stuff
Yeah,
like
let's
that.
do it, man.
We'll do another episode in the future soon. Thank you for
I look
listening.
forward to episode 500 as well.
Thank you, Harrison.
Yeah, for
Thank you
sure.
very much. If we ever make it so far, human race will go extinct long before then, I'm sure. Thank you for listening. Phoenix Rain Podcast, episode 3. Goodbye. Thank you.